Sorry made, but life to me is way much more. No matter what it seems to be, it's always time to make a change. Sometimes all we need is only one more chance. So try, build a bridge over troubled waters, fly. If that's all that you have left to do, I want more. I want more happy sunny days. I want more happy smiles on your face. Love sparkling the eyes. Tears no more, no more sorrows, no more bad days. No more cries, no more dark cold place. No more fear, no more fight. Someone told me long ago that life is just a long road. Sorry babe, but life to me is way much more. No matter what it seems to be, it's always time to make a change. Sometimes all we need is only one more chance. So try, build a bridge over troubled water, fly. If that's all that you have left to do, I want more. I want more happy sunny days. I want more happy smiles on your face. Love sparkling the eyes. Tears no more, no more sorrow, no more bad days. No more cries, no more dark cold place. No more fear, no more fight. I want more happy sunny days. I want more happy smiles on your face. Love sparkling the eyes. Tears no more sorrow, no more bad days. No more cries, no more dark cold place. No more fear, no more fight. Let the sun on the way shine, shine. Let the sun of the way shine, 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 shine.
Never lose your faith in the brightness of your eyes. Never let the sorrow bring you down. Put a carry smile in your beautiful face. This way is much easier to go. Bright sun will shine. Let Jesus' love warm you up. Live happy your life and never think of giving up. Forget about your problems, enjoy living your life. Open up your heart for love to come inside.
good of getting together. It's always good to do the good. I do believe the world can be better, and I know that you believe it too. Papa, Mama, brothers and sisters, let's get ready for our dawn. This is the time for those big changes we have all been waiting for so long. Listen to this call, the time is right now. Here is the place, so let's move in a faster pace. Jesus waiting for us to spread His grace. It's always good of getting together. It's always good to do the good. I do believe the world can be better, and I know that you believe it too. Papa, Mama, brothers and sisters, let's get ready for our dawn. This is the time for those big changes we have all been waiting for so long. Listen to this call, the time is right now. Here is the place, so let's move in a faster pace. Jesus waiting for us to spread His grace. Listen to this call, the time is right now. Here is the place, so let's move in a faster pace. Jesus waiting for us to spread His grace. Jesus waiting for us to spread His grace.
Hello everyone, good evening. My name is Publio. I'm gonna sing a couple of songs to prepare our environment, to prepare our soul for the Spiritist talk tonight. So welcome to our meeting. First of all, I'm gonna sing a song called Vibrate. It's time to open up your heart. It is time to love one another. It's time to take part. Vibrate away, loving and serving everyone. Vibrate always, loving and serving everyone. When we give our heart in charity, our lives are transforming into songs. Our dreams become reality, and we join Jesus for eternity. Vibrate always, loving and serving everyone. Vibrate always, loving and serving everyone. When we give our heart in charity, our lives are transforming into songs. Our dreams become reality, and we join Jesus for eternity. Now I'm gonna sing a song that really calm me down. If I close my eyes to pray, I heard the sound of the sea far away. If I close my eyes to pray, Jesus cradles me, in his arms I sway. Body harmonizes, how well done in the hay. Music lifts, his spirit sends sweet ballet. Nature's love, a constant giveaway. In joy and peace, my heart finds its way. If I close my eyes to pray, Jesus cradles me, in his arms I sway. If I close my eyes to pray, I heard the sound of the sea far away. If I close my eyes to pray, Jesus cradles me, in his arms I sway. Body harmonizes, how well done in the hay. Music lifts, his spirit sends sweet ballet. Nature's love, a constant giveaway. In joy and peace, my heart finds its way. If I close my eyes to pray, Jesus cradles me, in his arms I sway. If I close my eyes to pray, Jesus cradles me, in his arms I sway.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Spirit Talk. We thank everyone for joining us tonight. Before we start, we would like to share a couple of announcements. We ask you to turn off your phone notifications and find a quiet place to stay during this time if it's possible. Our meeting will have a 30 minutes presentation followed by Q&A. Then after the presentation, we will have spiritual care with passes and magnetized water. So we invite you to set aside a container with water to be magnetized. Our meeting is being retransmitted today by Continental Conference Americas through their Facebook and every Saturday at 8 p.m. by Kardec Radio through their Facebook and YouTube. I'm sorry. For those who want to learn more about Spiritism, Get to Know Spiritism is a free and online course that happens every Saturday at 5:15 p.m. Eastern Time. A new class is started on February, but there is still time to join. So everyone is welcome to come together with us to learn more about Spiritism. Find the registration link in our chat. I'm so sorry. I have a sinus. We offer visual life gospel at home. Did you know that the gospel at home is an effective support for you and your family's spiritual harmony? We will motivate you in establishing and maintaining the gospel at home study meetings by posting the chat. You can request it. Please let us know. You are welcome to include your or someone else's names. Thank you. I think I'm okay. On the list of positive vibrations for incarnate and discarnate. The person you indicate will be assisted by the good spirits to provide the healing energy and provide and strengthen goodwill. So please find the link in our chat. The topic of today's meeting will be the inequality of riches, items 7 and 8 from the chapter 16. You cannot serve both God and mammon of the gospel according to Spiritism, and will be facilitated by our sister Anna from Alabama. Everyone is welcome to write comments and questions in the chat, and they will be addressed at the end of the talk. Now, we would like to invite our tonight's speaker, who will also do our opening prayer as well. Welcome, my sister.
Thank you, sister. Oh my gosh, you have something going on there.
Yeah, because here in Canada, the weather is not stable yet. So last week it was like some days were hot, like 29 degrees, and the others like it dropped. So like we were not expecting that to be cold again. So who has allergy as I have?
Oh,
Yeah, suffers a little bit, but I'm a little bit better now.
All right. We thank you for your commitment.
Okay, I'll see you later, okay?
All right. All right, friends. So it's Tuesday. Welcome. Happy Tuesday to everybody who is either watching us live as every Tuesday or that it's listening to us on demand. Let's start like we always start with our opening prayer. So I invite you all to close your eyes, to take a deep breath, to feel exactly where you are, be present, but at the same time, let go of all your worries at this moment and focus only on being our eternal spirit who is looking to be better today than he or she was 5 minutes ago, last week, a year ago, 10 years ago. And with this disposition of seeking Jesus and his gospel as a guide for our betterment, for our evolution, for becoming better and happier and more fulfilled every day. That's our intentions here. And with these good intentions, let's thank God for our lives, for all life forms around us. And today, as we think about and we reflect on the trials and on the opportunities of being rich and being poor, may we always remember that it doesn't matter how rich or how poor we can always use charity. And that even when classified by others by being poor, we still have a lot of blessings. Not all of the things that we have in our life, they are able to be qualified in money, in a currency. And let's all thank God for His providence, for all the abundance that we have around us. And may we be able to use that abundance by sharing with each other and producing it more and more so that we can all improve and be better. And so be it. All right, friends. So, like Marceli said, today we're going to talk about the inequalities of riches. So, we are on chapter 16th. We last week already did the beginning of the chapter, and today we are on items 7 and 8. So, 7 and 8, we'll talk about the providential usefulness of riches, the trials of riches and poverty, and the inequalities of riches. That's not going to be the end of this chapter. If you are here with us every week, that we break these chapters in sections, so it's easier for us in the time that we have to talk about them. So we'll have a couple more Tuesdays that we're going to be still on the same chapter from the Gospel according to Spiritism, reflecting on this theme, right? So the title of the chapter is "You Cannot Serve Both God and Mammon." So, thinking a little bit about the title of item 7, the providential usefulness of riches. So, have we thought about that? That the blessings we have, the amount of good things, even the material things that we have in our life, they can be, they come from the providence, from the divine providence, right? God's give us that or lends us that from this, for this birth, for this life. For what, right? Just so because I'm more beautiful than others, so I have more, or just for what, right? And what is the usefulness of having wealth, of being rich? And then on the same title, the second sentence says the trials of riches and poverty. So, have you thought about riches and wealth, money, power, resources as a source of trial? Most of the time, I don't think we think about that, right? We think, of course, everybody wants to be rich, right? When given a choice, we want more, even more than we cannot even, spend, right? Growing up, people were talking about millionaires, then billionaires. Today, we talk about, trillionaires. And, people having so much money, they can spend as much as they want, and they will not spend all of that, right? But why would we have an opportunity to have all those resources? Thinking, of course, this is a Spiritist talk. So we are here trying to think of ourselves as immortal spirits, as spirits who have multiple experiences, right? Not just thinking that is this many years or this one life and this one birth and that's it, that we have a previous background, and whatever we do here will impact our next experience. So, have we thought about the trials of riches and poverty? I will actually confess that this is one, when I started studying Spiritism, this is one of the things that, I thought about, because it was like, what can I be wrong about being rich, right? But we'll talk a little bit, or what can be dangers about that, right? So we'll talk about it, and in the very balanced approach of Spiritism, right? Not demonizing money or riches or wealth, but really seeing what is the purpose, right? What is the usefulness of that wealth? So this chapter, the section 7, the item 7 starts saying that if wealth was an insuperable obstacle to the salvation of those who possess it, as might be inferred from certain words of Jesus, if we interpret it literally, right? Not according to the spirit of the words, but just literally, then God, who grants riches, would have put in the hands of some an instrument of unavoidable perdition, a thought that is repugnant uh, to reason, right? So Kardec starts right from the beginning with this, that it's not, we cannot think about wealth as an obstacle to salvation. Because if God grants this, allows us to have some of these, then it's almost like God is saying, okay, then you are not going to be able to be saved, or you cannot be elevated, you cannot progress, right? You cannot be happy. So that is the thing. Are there any dangers of being rich, right? I think usually we have a little bit of an envy, right, of people who have a lot of money. If most of us, I mean, we have to work to pay the bills. If we don't work, then we don't pay the bills. If we need, a house in a better side of town, then we have to work a little bit more. We have to study and then get a profession. We really have to do that. So we're thinking, what is the danger of being rich? But having all the money that you can spend, attracts, if you think, a lot of people that might be interested, not just in you, but on your money. It kind of gives you this idea that maybe you are better than others, right? Or can give you this false idea too, that everything is fast and you have to have it at that moment, and that it's because you deserve that and nobody else does. So the more that we have, the more will be asked, right? Remember the beginning of the chapter, the parable of the talents. So we're giving this, we should take care of it and multiply it, right? We should not just hide them and just, our talent is, and just is, let them stay where they are. So Kardec, in here, this is a very powerful section of the topic here. And I think there are so many warning words here that we really need to pay attention to this, right? So he says, undoubtedly, wealth is a very slippery trial, more dangerous than poverty because of its allure, the temptations it creates, and the fascination it exerts, right? So if you don't have a lot of money to spend, you might not have the temptations of spending on things that are more frivolous, that can be not helpful, right? Not healthy, because you don't have it. You might want to be partying all night, but you don't have money to do that. So then, that's why he's saying here that wealth is a very slippery trial, more dangerous than poverty because of its allure, right? It's the pull that can have for us. So it's all the things that it's associated with. And, it opens up that can of worms, or the window of possibilities, right? So the temptations it creates and the fascinations it exerts. It says here that wealth, it's the supreme arouser of pride, selfishness, and lust. Is the strongest tie that keeps human bound to earth and divert their thoughts from heaven. So being very materialistic and very attached to wealth brings us kind of a little bit down, closer to the earth, instead of letting us evolve a little bit more, right? Um, it says it produces such giddiness that we often see that those who go from poverty to wealth soon forget the former condition, those who share with them in it, and those who have helped them in it, and they become insensitive, selfish, and vain, right? So even people who, start poor and then become rich, almost like forget what it is to be poor, right? But Kardec keeps telling us that even though wealth makes the journey difficult, it does not follow that it makes it impossible, or that it cannot become a means of salvation in the hands of those who know how to use it. Just as certain poisons can restore health if used purposefully and carefully, right? So, in the previous section of the message, it was saying that wealth is a very slippery trial. But here's already saying it makes the journey more difficult, but it does not make it impossible, because it has to do with how we use it, right? So even something that in some people's hands can be prejudicial, in other people's hands can be positive, right? So is the wealth itself the issue, or the use of wealth, right? Is the use of wealth or the abuse of wealth, right? Um, so before I also forget, I just want to, this is a chapter in the Gospel according to Spiritism, so I hope you have it. If you don't, we usually publish a link too, so you can read the chapter for yourself later, what I totally recommend, so you can reflect on your own time about that. But I have another reading recommendation. There's this tiny little book, very cute, called Money. This is by the Spirit Manual, and it was published by the United States Spirits Council. And so it's by the medium Francisco Candido Xavier, and it's by the Spirit Manual, right? So here, what Chico says is that for all those who try to understand this subject, whether by exchanging currency for bread intended to help victims or of famine, or by exchanging it for medicine bottles to relieve the sick stretched out on anyone's cots, they all should recognize that money is also from God, right? So money, it's not the enemy, it's how we use it, right? It's the thing. So here, thinking about the providential usefulness, right? So Kardec brings us that idea. So remember that young guy, that young man that came to Jesus and said, I do everything fine, but what do I do to inherit eternal life? And Jesus said, get rid of all you have and then follow me, right? So when Jesus said that, Kardec is explaining to us that he did not intend to establish an absolute principle that everyone must sell all that they have, and that salvation can be obtained only at such price, right? He really, in that situation, Jesus wanted to show that the attachment to earthly riches, it's an obstacle to salvation. So the young man, right, he believed that he was in accord to the law because he followed the commandments. And then, but at the moment that he started to think about getting rid or abandoning all his wealth, then his desire for eternal life did not go as far as making such a sacrifice, right? So it's an example, very nice, because the guy is not even, he was already on his way, right? He was already doing good things. But when Jesus invited him to let go of the material things that he had, the comfort, the, all these nice things that come with the riches, then he was not ready to take that step, right? So, what does it mean to have wealth, right? So, in the case of that parable, or that encounter with that young man, sorry, um, Jesus really wanted to test, right? It was a test to see what it was the core of that young man. So, he talked about the commandments and he said, "Yes, Jesus, I do this. I respect I honor my dad and my mom, I honor God." But, and if we think about it in the world view, that young man was doing very well, right? He did not slander his neighbor. He didn't harm anyone. He was neither vain nor proud. And he honored his mother and father. But he did not practice true charity, because his virtue did not extend as far as self sacrifice, right? So he was okay with doing all these other things. Those were kind of easy for him. But what it was really hard was for him to just not think of himself as having all that wealth. That part he was not doing. Right? Because remember, practicing charity that we have been talking about in previous chapter 2, it's loving somebody, it's helping somebody in need, right? So if it was helping somebody in need, but that would take away from the material situation or security that he had, he was not ready for that step yet, right? So then Kardec tells us here that Jesus really wanted to demonstrate was the application of the principle: without charity, there is no salvation, right? So again, balance, right? So we cannot take the words literally. We cannot say, okay, let's all of us sell our houses, give away um all our belongings and everything that we have, um because we have to abolish wealth, because that will be detrimental to our future happiness, and because wealth is the source of all multitudes of ills on earth, right? So that is not how we should interpret this, right? This would be taking Jesus' words literally. And if this was the truth, that would be the condemnation of labor too, right? So remember, the law of labor is one of the laws of God, the law of progress too, right? So just saying whatever you are now, just let it all go. Don't try to improve yourself to give maybe something better for your kids. No, 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 no. Wealth is not good. It's a source of evil. So don't search for that. That's not what he's saying. He's saying that then don't work, don't study, don't put yourself, like, it would be also the contradiction, not just of labor, but also about, so it will be the condemnation or the negation of any innovation, right? Of imagination, of creativity, any of that. And we are co-creators of God, right? He gave us this power to actually create this environment around us too. So that would be an absurd consequence, and it would bring mankind back to its primitive period, and it would in and itself contradict the law of progress, right? So we need riches, we need investments, we need the money to you know um to invest, right, in places that are better for people to live, in technology that helps people live better, in medicine that will help people, not have diseases or live longer or be cured of some diseases to live better, right? All of this, it's good and it's part of the problem. So uh, if riches are the source of many ills, and if they arouse so many evil passions, and if they provoke so many crimes, riches per se are not to blame, but the human being who abuse them, as they do all God's gifts, right? We have the earth too. We have animals, and sometimes they are gifts from God, and sometimes we abuse them too, right? We have plants and rivers and, all these natural resources, and sometimes we also abuse that. People are God's gifts, right? God's children. And sometimes we also don't take care of them and we don't treat them right. So that is the thing. With wealth is the same thing. It's not the wealth itself, but it is the way that we use it, right? So it's not the use of richness, but it is the abuse of wealth that renders pernicious what would otherwise be very helpful for us, for anybody, for everybody, right? But this, Kardec reminds us, that is the result of the inferior state of the terrestrial world, right? So that is a reflection of all of us, the collective, right? So if wealth could produce only evil, God would not have put it on earth. It is up to humans to make the wealth produce the good. So if it is not a direct and it is not a direct element of for moral progress, it is undeniably a powerful element for intellectual progress. So wealth, it is a trial for our moral, right, development, but it can really help us in our intellectual progress, right? If you have more money, you can study more, you can travel more, you can read more, you can be exposed to more resources and science and all of that. So your intellect can be developed much better than if you don't. So it's not, and then as our intellectual um, progresses and improves, our moral should too, right? So when we're talking about progress, we're talking about intelligence, but we're also talking about morality. So that is the usefulness of the riches there, right? And the trials of riches and poverty, because it might not be a direct element. Riches might not be a direct element for moral progress. It actually can be the opposite. It can create more temptations because of their allure and because of all this situation. So it can actually hinder our moral progress if we don't make the right choices and if we do not use the money well, if we abuse the money. But it can undeniably help us in our intellectual progress, right? So the truth of the matter is that humans have the mission of laboring for the material improvement of the planet. So that's the thing. We need to use our creativity, our intelligence to develop, right, the earth, so that we can make it better for everybody, right? We need, if there's more people on earth, we need to if there's increasing population, we need to increase production or better produce, right, goods and food and things like that. Decrease waste, for example, is a way of improving too, right? So that's why Kardec even put here that that's why, in order to increase this betterment for the whole earth, for everybody, even these relations between nations, right, need to improve, and then communication and transportation needs to be also faster and better so that we can communicate better, right? So, and he talks about that these endeavors, their work of centuries, right? Then we can develop the earth and we can look into science as the means to execute these progress endeavors more safely and faster, right? So, because to accomplish this progress, we need resources. So the necessity is what drives humans to create wealth, just as it drove them to discover science, right? So, and we have seen how, one example, if we saw during COVID, right, we already had the technology for the vaccine and some of these things. But sometimes when I think, and this is my personal opinion, sometimes when I think, what is the key thing that made that vaccine come so fast? And I think is the investment of governments, right? The money was there, the wealth was there. So everybody, all the scientists, all the people that work in pharmaceutical companies, all the people that had the means, the ideas, or anything, they could stop everything and they were funded. They had the money to do what they needed to do. They didn't have to compete with each other. They didn't have to write a grant and wait too much. They, all the resources were there, right? So really the wealth drives the discovery of science too. It's an investment, right? So that's probably why we get, why we don't have all the other things developed for other diseases, because we didn't put that investment yet, right? If we did, if we had money for all of the diseases, we can just be tackle one after the other, right? So this intelligence will help, right? And Kardec is here also reminding us about this progress. So wealth can help us to improve our intellect. And by improving our intellect, so if we know better, hopefully that's also going to help us choose better and be better and do better, right? So that's why it is, because the wealth can help with science, with develop of intelligence, of technology, and all of those activities, right? So there's a stimulus, there's research. So that way is with good reason that wealth is considered an element of progress, especially progress, intellectual progress, right? So I really like this sentence, and I think it's a good sentence for us to keep in mind as we reflect, looking as wealth as an element of progress. So from some of the things that we talked about, what does that mean? So it's to use but not abuse wealth, right? Share wealth with the greater good. So not just keep to ourselves, but to share and multiply, right? It's a tool for increased intelligence and morality, and not a chain that binds us to earth, right? And impedes us to elevate into materialism, right? It can be a means of us developing morally too, developing the virtuous too, not just keeping our vices, right? That's what the wealth should be. So now the last part that is a little bit shorter, it talks about the inequality of riches. So have you noticed that not everybody is rich, right? Some people are poor, some people are rich, some people are very rich, some people are very poor, and we have all the types, all the spectrum, right, from very poor to very rich. And then we could think, why are we all humans not equally wealthy, right? And the simple reason it is that we are not equally intelligent, we are not equally active, we are not equally industrious to acquire wealth, or moderate or foresightful enough to preserve it, right? Even people that sometimes get a lot of wealth they have this capacity to spend it very fast, right? So there are people that can make money really fast, people can spend money really fast. So how can everybody be wealthy at the same level, right? So Kardec also brings us with this argument that even if we divide it, so let's say this much is the amount of wealth in the world, and we just divide it equally to everybody in the world, soon not everybody will have the same. Some people would be able to actually take that much and produce a little bit and maintain. Some people would produce a lot more, and some people would spend that faster than maybe others, right? Because we are all different. So, you know, that even if we think, okay, I really don't like this inequality, so let's give everybody the same amount, because we are different, then it would not stay equal, right, for some time. So just again, in this argument that it's not the wealth but the way that we use it. So that's why we should be a little bit free of the attachment to just having the wealth. We need to worry. Of course, we are incarnate, right? If we don't eat after so many days, we'll probably die. If we don't drink water after so many days or so many hours, we need to, and we need to have hygiene and things too, right? So that is fine. The problem is how much attached I am to that, and how much effort I put on getting rich instead of getting rich morally, and getting rich spiritually, not just getting rich materially, right? So um so they, in terms of the inequality, Kardec really says that that's another proof of God's wisdom and goodness, because God gives us free will. So God wants us to reach the point where we could distinguish between good and evil, and we can practice the good, and then have the effects, or um, harvest, right, the fruits of our own labor, right, of our own efforts and our own will, right? So we should not be fatalistic, led either by good or evil, right? We If we were like this, if we didn't have the will, if we couldn't choose, then we would be very passive and irresponsible and kind of animal like instruments or creatures, right? So, wealth is a means of testing humans morally, but it is simultaneously also a powerful means of inducing progress. So God does not wish for us to remain unproductive for long, and it moves this wealth around incessantly. So all persons will possess it at one time or another in order to try their hand at and to test the use they make of it. So that's another point in Spiritism, right? So if we are poor now, we maybe were rich in the previous life, or we can be rich the next part. If we're rich now, we might be poor the next time, because as spirits we have to have both experiences, right? Or else we don't know. If we are not a complete coin, right? If we only have one side, we have to have both sides, right? So uh we cannot possess all at the same time. So it is like, we take turns. So the one who does not possess riches today has either had it already or will have it in a future life, and the one who possesses it now might not have it tomorrow, right? So there are both the rich and the poor, because since God is just, we must work in turn. So poverty is for some a test of patience and resignation. And what a test, right? You have to work, you're worried about how you're going to provide for your kids, all of this. It is really a test. And wealth is for others a test of charity and self denial, right? If you have all of that, but why not share with others, right? Why not just with all the comfort that that can bring to you, what not have a little bit less so that others can also have something, better for them, right? So if, the poor have no longer a reason to accuse providence or to envy the rich, and the rich no longer have any reason to gloat over what they possess, right? So really, it is all from God, right? So God's giving us, is lending us this amount of riches that sometimes it might be a lot or makes us rich or poor, wealth or not wealthy. But that can change from life to life. And that is so that we can use the best of what we have. So the source of the evil resides in selfishness and pride. Abuses of every kind will cease by themselves when humankind rules itself according to the law of charity, right? So this inequality will become less and less at the time that we are more charitable in every level, right? And we are more morally evolved, then we'll be able to share more. And then we are not going to have this spectrum so bad where so many people with so much, few people with so much, and then so many with very, very little, right? So, um, so here again, this sentence from the previous section of the message or of the chapter: the source of the evil resides in selfishness and pride, not in the riches. So having money, right? So like Chico said in this book here, money comes from God too, right? Money is not the problem. The problem is how we use the money, right? And the message also says that abuses of every kind will cease by themselves when humankind rules itself according to the law of charity. So, either rich or poor, we should be charitable, right? Because it's about self-denial too. So remember, we had in some chapters before, we talked about the donation of the widow, right? That when they put in the balance in the scale, it was actually heavier, even though it was less. But it's because she was giving out of what she would miss, right? It was not out of her abundance like some other rich people were giving. She was, if she gave that, that will be something, that will be missing, right? It's not like, oh, I have extras, so it's so easy to give, because if you have like 3 or 4 cars, it's easier to give one than if you just have one and then you give that. It shows more of self-denial there. So this is what I had for us to talk about and discuss today. And I hope you guys enjoyed. And if I thank you all for listening. And if there are any questions, I'm ready to talk about those.
Thank you so much, Ania. It was a very beautiful talk that you brought to us. So many things to reflect on, right? This is
Right.
a very sensitive matter, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. And
So,
and very current, I think, right? Because
yeah.
we have been talking about those things. And
Mhm.
when I was, reading and studying, I was like, oh my gosh, Kardec was talking about this so long ago, right? But
Yeah.
it's still current, and probably this inequality maybe became, a lot of us improved, but maybe this
Mhm.
difference became even more, right?
Yeah.
Showing that we really need
It's
to share.
yeah, it's very important. Yeah, it's very important because like the selfishness, right? The pride, the selfishness are so like higher in each one of us, right? So
Mhm.
it's good to know a little bit more, to try to fix these things in
Mhm.
ourselves in order to be more charitable, right? To
Right.
help more people. And we
Right.
do have one question here from our brother Publio. He's
Mhm.
asking how Spiritism help us to understand this inequality and still have peace in our heart.
Very good. Very good. Hard question, but yeah, I think with some of these things that Kardec really put in this message, right? That being rich, it's not all that great, right? It's good, but it has its dangers too. It's more
Yeah.
temptation. So it is also a trial. So we can see it in a different way.
Mhm.
Also, that we are not going to stay in this position, whatever position we are. If we're rich, we cannot just relax and say I'll be rich forever in my next life, in my other life, because that's not right. Even it can happen that the market crashes, or you have a very nice home and then you have a natural disaster or something and you can lose it,
Yeah.
right? So it's not guaranteed. So it's really, Spiritism tells us not to be attached with those things, right? So it's really, it's now, but we might have been in the other side, that both sides have trials and have things. And I think above all too is that charity is so powerful that it doesn't matter how poor we are, like we have been discussing here, we can always give of something, because we don't need to be rich to give of ourselves, right? We can give our time that is valuable, we can give of our words, we can give our ear, we can lend our ear to somebody who needs to talk, right? We can help with our hands, with our able bodies, if we can do that. So I think that's what it helps, is looking at riches not as like a good and bad, and oh my
Mhm.
gosh, you are you are rich, so you are maybe chosen, or you are better than everybody. It's not like that. It's a trial for that person too, right? So I think this really help us have peace, because there is a reason behind it, and there is a cause and consequence that is
Mhm.
driving those. And this wealth, it's being dispersed, right? And everybody can access to that. If we're not accessing, or if we don't have right now, it's either because it's our trial to go through, or maybe our brothers and sisters are not so charitable yet that can help us, right? So it all can change. It's not like by default that is set like this. It's not, God didn't, wealth is supposed to be good, right? Not supposed to be bad, not supposed to be divisive to people, right?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm
You're welcome.
gonna sleep with this reflection tonight. Thank you, my
Thank
friend.
you. Bye.
Bye. Okay, so now we're gonna move to we thank everyone, right, for the comments and the participation in the chat. Now we will move to the preparation for our tonight spiritual care. Pass is the transfusion of a spiritual energy with the goal of assisting with our physical, emotional, and mental balance. And pass help us to restore a state of harmony and peace by replacing negative energy with health and positive energy. In order to receive the best benefits from please follow the audio instructions or remain in prayer. You may close your eyes to help with mentalization. During the past, the water you set aside, we will also absorb the spiritual energy that you and your family can benefit from. Now we will make prayer in preparation for the past, which will be our closing prayer as well. So let's close our eyes. I invite everyone who wish and feel comfortable closing the eyes and let's elevate our thoughts and thank God for the opportunity to be here, to learn a little bit more about your teachings, to reflect on this subject so important in these days that we need to be very careful with our actions and with everything we do towards our neighbors, our family, and all the humanity. May Jesus, your love, reach each one of us and help us to be every day better than yesterday so we can be less proud or selfish, and may we put your teachings and your love in the first place. So I believe this is the path to reach the light. May you can help all the names, all the people whose names are on the vibration list. May you can help all of us, all the people who are watching us now and who will watch us later. May all our necessities can be fulfilled, and may we have a good week. Help us and bless all of us, God, and stay with us today and always. So be it.
Let's get ready for the pass and water fluidification. Please get a container with clean water to be fluidified. Brothers and sisters, it does not matter where you are, what type of hardships you are going through. Jesus is always ready to come and help us. Place yourself in a comfortable position which can make it easy for you to reach concentration and receptiveness. Breathe slowly and easily. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Fill up your lungs with air and let it out very slowly. Let tranquility and peace energies penetrate your lungs and move throughout your body. Your soul in harmony with your body feels easy and in peace. Let's imagine Jesus' passage. A clear day, the sun's golden rays illuminate the happy passage in Capharnaum. A lot of white houses, multicolored vines, and hopping birds fill the landscape with optimism. The news about cures attracted the crowd in need. Suddenly, Jesus appears slim and handsome. His tunic was hanging down to his feet. At sunset, all those with sick people hit by several illnesses would bring them, and as he placed his hands over each one, he would heal them. This is what Luke the evangelist says. Let's imagine Jesus approaching you. He holds his friendly hands over our head. Notice that from his generous hands, a waterfall with clear and pure water originated from his love come to bathe you. It flows on your head, goes down your shoulders, bathe all your being, and brings you peace, serenity, and balance. They remove all impurities and pacify you. Feel the water bathing you, cleaning. Breathe. Now, Imagine Jesus as a sun before you. His light, His warmth surrounds you. Feel the healing energy that comes from Jesus towards you. He hears your prayers. Trust Him. His love is endless and it follows you and protects you. It provides you with everything you need. Have faith. Absorb the healing energy from Jesus. His light surrounds you. Feel the energy going through all your body. Feel stronger and in peace. Lord Jesus, our divine friend, reach out your generous hands, Lord, and change this water into medicine for our physical and spiritual illnesses. Protect us, Jesus, with your peace. Spread those vibrations of love throughout my home, Lord. May peace, health, and tranquility reign here. We are very grateful to you, Jesus. Stay with us today and forever. Thank God. Please remember to use the fluidified water.
Thank you for joining us tonight. We will be back next Tuesday here on Spiritism Canada and Continental Concapras Americas. Next in Continental Concapras Americas at 8:30 p.m. and on Saturday on Kardec Radio at 8 p.m. And please don't forget to follow Spiritism Canada on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and the Spirited Group Path of Light on Facebook as well. You have a great night and see you next week.
A world where we will be as free as any bird flying in the sky, where peace prevails. That's what I dream for you and me. Moved by the light of love, no longer dimmed by who we were. We'll rise into what we are meant to be, among flowers shining with the glow of supernovas. Tokens of that endless love God feels for us. That's what I dream. I dream a new day is going to dawn, the rising of a different world, where eyes who seek out chances to do good, a world of peace and brotherhood awaits the change that we can make. And changing our hearts is the first step we must take. For you and me, moved by the light of love, no longer dimmed by who we were. We'll rise into what we are meant to be, among flowers shining with the glow of supernovas. Tokens of that endless love God feels for us. That's what I dream. I dream a new day is going to dawn, the rising of a different world, where eyes will seek out chances to